Ugly motherfucker.
All right. Hello?
Sheffield East aliens. Can you not hear?
You're
Wasn't-
cutting in and out.
Oh, so maybe I cannot have the Twitch window. Welcome, Sheffieldians, tooth-faced aliens, and amnesiac Rule 63 Time Lords, to the Unearthly Podcast Season 11 premiere, also known as Episode 276, streaming live on the 10th of October, 2018, and featuring the first episode of Doctor Who Series 11, The Woman Who Fell to Earth, written by Chris Chibnall, and introducing Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor. Well, technically she was introduced in the previous episode. Tosin Cole as Ryan Sinclair, Mandip Gill as Yasmin Khan, and Bradley Walsh as Graham O'Brien.
Yeah, you better memorize those names, Bill, because you're going to be saying them for the next 3 months.
Good luck.
I am Bill Sylvia, the Man in Black, and I'm asking, did anyone catch the number of that refrigerator? With me are Mad Matt Winchell,
I have more Crystal Pepsi.
Randy Ronson McCulloch,
I keep feeling phantom spiders.
Tim the Enchanter Sheridan.
Who's
Who is
actually not
not
here
here.
right now. He would be
Oh,
late.
right. Sorry. He will be here later, but he is here tonight.
God damn it, Bill.
We did not cross him off of the introduction list because he is coming. And Thomas Fireheart.
The void spat me back out.
So I'm out of practice. I haven't done this in like
Yeah, you're
It's
really rough.
showing hard. Oh dear.
I've just regenerated and I don't remember who I am yet.
My
You're
teeth
still
keep brushing
cooking.
against my cheeks, and it's getting weird.
So we're finally seeing autumn weather here in Madison.
Yay.
It has been cold and rainy all day. I had to close up the
Yes,
house,
yay.
and this was after yesterday. It was like freaking 83, 84.
We had late fall weather already about 2 weeks ago, and then it suddenly came back to late summer.
Well, yeah, that's what it does. Around here, they refer to it as Indian summer.
It
But
was
now-
77 today, I think, here.
That's because you're getting the stuff we got yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
So give it a day or two, and you'll be down into the 30s and 40s and rainy and nasty, and you're just like, oh God, can spring come already?
I'm always more of a fall fan than anything other seasons.
Oh
Mhm.
God, I hate fall just because I know winter's right around the corner.
If
And
I
I
could find a place that's fall all year round, just because it'll be low bug numbers, for
Right.
that alone, I'd be there.
Unfortunately, there is no such place that's fall all year round. You can get
Shame.
summer all year
Which
round.
is fucked up. Yeah, there's summer all year round. There's winter all year round.
I don't know. How warm does it get in Britain?
I would not know. That's actually a good question.
The weather is on parallel with ours, but it's offset a bit because they're basically an island.
Mm-hmm. Which means that it might be slightly cooler.
Yeah. I mean, the stereotype is that it's pretty much always either raining or overcast. So
Mhm.
I know there is a tropic that blows directly toward England that keeps them a lot warmer than their longitude would suggest.
Mm.
But that might be during summer too, during the winter too.
Like,
So that would
there's-
explain why they have a
yeah,
lack of
which-
snow of late years.
Which is why winter or white winters are pretty much unheard of there.
It happens, but it's rare. It's kind of like
Mm.
Japan, because
Mhm.
Japan has that too. Japan knows of snowfall, it knows about it in Hokkaido, but in Tokyo and stuff, they know of it. It only happens once in a blue moon because
It'll
they're just
be barely there long enough for them to make snowballs and have a snowball fight one day, and it'll be gone the next.
Which is kind of funny when you consider that they share a border with Russia. Granted, it's an aquatic border.
Kinda, sorta,
I was
yeah.
gonna say it's
Not really a border so much as it is a giant body of water.
It's a border in the sense that they're technically still at war over some islands in between that they both lay claim to.
The island that they're talking about is north of Hokkaido. There's about, I would say, a 5 to 10 mile swim at least to get from that island to this big freaking island that is not connected to Russia, but that there's like an inlet between that and like Vladivostok, I think. Oddly enough, I was just looking at this the other day trying to map a course for something I was reading.
Can I just say in advance, go Japan?
So anyway, on tonight's show, we've got a fair bit of birthdays and news. And then we'll have some geek talk, and I think Randy has a bit of a rant if we have time for it.
It's directed only at one particular company, and it is actually on topic. So hey,
if it's on topic, then yeah.
It is relevant.
We're losing our host again.
I mean, I did hear a click, but I don't know.
You also need to start cutting it out again.
Oh.
Okay, you're fine now. Keep going.
So we'll have our episode summary review, final thoughts, and ratings after that.
All right. So let's get this party started. With Barty started. Okay, sorry.
I'm not the only one who can't talk.
Yes, but I haven't slept in over 24 hours, so what's your... Every time I go to sleep, I feel phantom spiders all over the place.
Can't sleep. Spiders sleepy.
Can't sleep. Spiders will crawl down my pants.
Is one of them a talking pig?
No. That was in my old house when I, went down the stairs and saw a spider web with the words, "We have the bomb" written on it. Left that basement, let me tell you. Anyway, birthdays. So, yes, we do have some birthdays. First one is the 27th of September, and Dominic Glynn, who was a composer for the 1986 season of Doctor Who. He turned 58. He is known for creating the theme specifically for the Trial of a Time Lord series, also known as kind of the Rub-a-Dub theme. On the 29th of September was the birthday of Nicholas Briggs, who is the voice of the Daleks in New Who, the Cybermen of New Who, and many, many aliens in New Who. All the way up from 2005 to 2017. No word yet on whether he will be continuing in the new series. He turned 57.
Very amusingly, I found a picture of him with his ring modulator.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that thing. I remember when he brought it to the Weakest Link. All right, so the 1st of October was the birthday of Philip Hinchcliffe, basically the showrunner from 1975 to 1977, although they didn't call it at the time. They just called him a producer. He turned 74. That would be the early Tom Baker era, which is known actually as the Hinchcliffe era.
Mm-hmm.
The 2nd October is the birthday of Ian McNeice, who played Winston Churchill in 2010 and again in 2011. He turned 68. The 4th of October is the birthday of Dudley Simpson, who was the incidental music composer for Doctor Who on and off from 1964 to 1979.
Wow.
He would have been 96, but died in 2017 at 95. And he was one of those things that was like a key portion of Doctor Who until John Nathan Turner fired him.
Damn you, G&T.
I'm wondering at this point who fired more people, JNT or Chris Chibnall?
That's a very good question.
That's actually a good question, yeah.
And then the 9th of October, we once again celebrate annually the birthday of Brian Blessed!
Whose name shall not be called out in monotone voice.
who of course played King Yakarnos in 1986 in the episode Mind Warp, and is best known as being the King of the Hawkmen in Flash Gordon.
Fly, my Hawkman!
And generally for being a really cool guy and one of our favorites.
Amazing man who has no indoor voice.
Yes. We love you, Brian Blessed. And there's no lost stories this week. Nobody. Actually, in the last 2 weeks, there hasn't been a reported death of a cast or crew member from Doctor Who in the last
2 weeks. No
they all
deaths.
They all had to wait and see Jodie Whittaker's first appearance before considering dying.
apparently.
Even despite the nonsense going on politically, which we won't delve into.
I think I'll live on a bit. I feel fine.
I feel happy.
All right, which brings us to the episode news, which is probably the major crux of our news this evening.
Okay, so we have the UK overnight figures for The Woman Who Fell to Earth. It aired on BBC last Sunday with an estimated 8.2 million viewers, just over 40% of the viewing audience in the UK. This makes it the highest rated episode of Doctor Who since 2008's Journey's End. It was the third rated show of the week behind Strictly Come Dancing.
Technically behind Strictly Come Dancing and Strictly Come Dancing, but you know.
So it's literally outclassed everything in the Moffat era already.
Yes, it pretty much just blew everything from the 2009 movies onwards right out of the water. And probably a good chunk of that is people going, ooh, woman doctor, because, this is a good, I think, 500,000 higher or more than Capaldi's premiere. Yeah, it's that's a good number higher than Capaldi's premiere and higher than Smith's and even Tennant's premieres were.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. In the US, the BBC America premiere of The Woman Who Fell to Earth got 1.37 million people tuning in, a 0.4 of the 18 to 49 demographic. The rebroadcast that night garnered an additional 515,000, which brings the total to 1.88 million and 0.6 in the demographic. That's a 48% increase in the show's ratings from the Series 10 premiere.
Now, you may sit here and go, wow, that's a really small number, but BBC America's not a big network.
No, technically it isn't.
There's still a lot of cable providers in the U.S. that do not have BBC America. So,
At least there might be. I think most of them have it by now, but a lot of them don't have it like on the easy access bottom tier.
Okay, so it's on like a second tier or premium.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, so that they don't have easy access to it, so that there's a lot smaller audience in America than say AMC. Because
AMC is like basic cable, yeah.
Yeah, it's generally basic cable. And it had The Walking Dead premiere the same day as Doctor Who, and it got...
Speaking of which, actually...
an 8.4 million attendees, and that's their lowest they've ever had.
Speaking of which, next article?
The press reaction. The press has spoken about the premiere, and thus far, reaction has been positive for the show.
Wait,
in particular, Jodie Whittaker's performance.
You're looking at the article, which doesn't. I didn't mention that in the actual. I gave us the flat ratings, Matt. So no, you're fine. You're fine, Thomas. Matt's confused.
No, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here because I'm pretty sure someone linked something wrong. Yeah, the U.S. ratings went to the article about
The
Walking Dead.
Yeah, if you look at the second part of the article, that's where the U.S. ratings are. It's the only place that had them, Matt.
Oh.
It's really hard to find the United States ratings listed.
Oh, did Doctor Who News leave them out again?
Yes, Doctor Who News left them out again. And there were some places that mentioned the 1.37 million, but didn't mention the additional 515 from the rebroadcast.
See, I'm sitting here going, what the fuck?
Okay, so the press has spoken about the premiere thus far. Reaction has been positive. In particular, Jodie's performance and her characterization of the Doctor gets top marks across the board. The Guardian loved not just her, but the whole group dynamic between her and the new companions. Only the Telegraph had something bad to say, calling the episode flawed but fun, and states that while there were quibbles early on, they were quickly forgotten about in light of Whittaker's performance.
I would have probably had more in there, except all of the articles were basically saying the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I'm sitting here just looking at the press reaction going across the board. It's like, Jodie Whittaker, excellent performance. Unbelievable performance by Jodie Whittaker. You know, it's like, okay. You could only say that so many times.
How many
Right.
times can we rinse and repeat before we decide we just move along?
All right, so that takes us up to future episode news.
All right.
And that will be the Ghost Monument.
So we have two synopses thus far for Sunday's episode, The Ghost Monument. The first is the Doctor and her new friends have barely had a chance to recover from their first adventure together before they are plunged into another, which will take Graham, Ryan, and Yasmin on their first journey to an alien planet. The unlikely traveling companions are faced with a struggle for survival as they try to solve the mystery at the heart of this strange, dangerous new world. This being Doctor Who, the heart might be literal and they may need to journey to the core. Hard to tell.
There are a lot of underground shots from what we've seen.
So it's a possibility.
The second synopsis is still reeling from their first encounter. Can the Doctor and her new friends stay alive long enough in a hostile alien environment to solve the mystery of desolation? And just who are Angstrom and Epso? We know Angstrom and Epso are played by Susan Lynch and Sean Dooley respectively, but what roles these characters have in the story, we have no clue. We're assuming Desolation is the name of the planet, and we know the creatures they are fighting are called Remnants and are voiced by Ian Gelder.
Yeah, that's about all we know. Chibnall's doing a really good job at keeping like everything freaking top secret.
Snapping that whip.
Which I think is a reaction to what happened with Series 10, where the BBC press released the fact that the Master was coming back, like at the beginning of the series, and it would have been so much better as a surprise reveal.
Right.
Mm.
I really hope that does mean the next time the Master shows up, we have
surprise.
like no idea. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He just shows up in a bad rubber mask, he or she, in a bad rubber mask, and then just reveals it at the end of the episode.
I don't know. Production values are up.
True. Next piece we have is some photos released thus far by the BBC, which I think I saw at least one photo of the allegedly mysterious Angstrom and Epso. Yes,
we see them. We see them. We know what they look like. We just don't know what their role is.
Right. I just hope that blurb isn't like overhyping to like average characters and making them seem like something more important than they are.
Come on.
I don't know.
This website is refusing to load right now. It's just sitting here going loading.
Yeah, it took a bit for me as well.
There. Jeez.
Yeah, Cultbox does that sometimes. It's really weird. I think it has to do with their advertisements.
Possibly.
Especially when it's loaded with photos while you have Discord and Twitch running.
But okay, so we can see Epso in the first picture that they have of him. That's like the fourth picture down.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks like he's holding a gun to somebody. It does not look. It looks like it might be to Angstrom. Yeah, because that looks like the same outfit.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And there you see Angstrom below, but that's all we really know of these characters.
Is that a flight suit and a parachute pack?
I think it's probably a environment suit and probably just a supply backpack.
Oh, that's right. That might be an air tube or something similar.
That it actually might be their attempt at a stilt suit.
kind of a still suit, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some kind of desert survival suit.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to call it a still suit because then frickin' Frank Herbert's gonna sue. Herbert's estate's gonna sue somebody.
Yeah, Frank Herbert's estate is gonna be going. What you call it? Nothing.
And looks like Soapbox also took some stills from the trailer, so we
Yeah.
can look more closely at them.
Yeah. If you notice below the Angstrom one, you see her and the doctor. It looks like they're doing something at a display screen of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like they might be in orbit.
Actually, it looks like it might be that whatever they're looking at is projected from what is in the doctor's hand there.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like the doctor's explaining the plot, and Angstrom is playing the audience.
No, it looks like that might be a projection of flight course by the look of it.
Something.
That's probably where they realize they're crashing, or something.
Some more crew in the desert.
And there's Epso and his gun again,
Mm-hmm. He's gonna be our gun ho character in this episode, methinks.
or our antagonist.
Mm-hmm. Possibly one of those like soft antagonists where they're allegedly on the same side, but they're so like unhinged that they act as an antagonist anyway.
Or
Until
he's
they finally either die or learn at the end.
or he's an antagonist until they find the true antagonist, in which case he switches
Right.
sides.
No, we're
Wow.
just being a load.
There are no ice warriors on this planet. I'm going to throw you in jail.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's an example that we know is not the case. We know that there are no ice warriors in this season, but example.
But yeah, it's a cliche that they've done before, and either one. I mean, it looks like he could be fitting either role here.
Mm-hmm. Throws the doctor in jail, and then you start to hear footsteps made of metal.
Surprise!
Also, apparently, there's a third guest star in this that was not mentioned in the synopsis.
Ilian, I think it's supposed to be.
Yeah, Ilan, played by Art Malik.
Oh, yep, I see that toward the bottom, or I think
Looks
the bottom.
looks like almost an Arabian merchant.
Yeah.
Kind of, sorta. Almost apt for the setting.
And of course, in the middle, you have the still from the trailer of the ship that they're possibly landed with. God, that thing does not look space-worthy.
Barely looks space-worthy.
Take my love, take my land, take me where I cannot stand. Yeah, it does have that kind of Serenity feel to it.
Mm.
That Firefly, yeah. All right. I think that's about all we're really going to glean from these pictures.
The
Mhm.
most interesting thing here is the one with there's one with Ryan holding an alien gun with a building in the background. I don't think we had seen like that sort of angle on a building before. Oh, there's another one earlier on that makes it look almost like some sort of mining complex.
It's a kind of mining complex or a pavilion of some kind.
It almost looks like a rundown movie theater from some of the shots.
Might be Ilan's place, yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe when this was a thriving civilization, it was a bar of some kind. It's like frickin'
Cantina.
Space cheeseburger in paradise or something.
All right, so that moves us on to the guest star list for the season. I see the BBC has released a trailer recently showing all the guest stars for the season. That includes Mark Eddy, Julie Hesmondar, Shane Zaza in episode 9, Shabna Gulati in episode 6.
We think.
We
It
think
might be episode 4.
Is that what question marks means?
Yeah, that means
Okay.
it's in particular, those tend to be for episodes 4 and 6 because episode 6 may be episode 4 and vice versa.
Okay.
It's just they're the same film block,
Gotcha.
and the way we know these guest lists is where they kind of signed in for the filming block.
We've got Sean Dooley, who, as we discussed, is Epso in the Ghost Monument. Brett Goldstein, Josh Bowman, who is Krasko in episode 3. Shaban Finneran, who is in The Witchfinders, episode 4, or possibly episode 6. Lee Mack, Lois Chimimba, Susan Lynch, who we just mentioned, was Angstrom in The Ghost Monument,
Mm-hmm.
Hamza Jitowa in episode 9, Art Malik as Ilan in The Ghost Monument, Suzanne Packer, Vinette Robinson, who plays Rosa Parks in episode 3, Amita
It's official
Suman,
now?
who plays...
Yeah,
Apparently.
because it was mentioned by Chris Chibnall that it will be meeting Rosa Parks.
Okay.
He mentioned it at New York Comic Con.
Ah.
See, and I was looking through a New York Comic Con article to see if there was anything worth including, and I didn't see that part.
I've not seen a whole article on it, but I've seen it mentioned on the side.
Amita Suman, who plays Umbreen in episode 9, Ben Bailey Smith, Phyllis Logan, Alan Cumming, who plays King James I in The Witchfinders.
Which
And-
we assume again is episode 4, which is interesting
Oh, yep.
because we do not know what the name of episode 3 is.
Mm.
But it's been revealed that either episode 4 or episode 6 is The Witchfinders, and we assume it's episode 4 because we are thinking that would be the perfect episode to have a couple days before Halloween.
The Witchfinders, I'm wondering if that's going to be something that we can be valuable for my witchcraft class.
Quite possible. King James I has a history of being kind of the English version of the Inquisition.
So he would have been
Inquisition.
useful for what we spent September on, which was the background of pre-colonial witch hunts.
Yep.
And the final person on the list is Chris Noth. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it.
Nah,
who
I think.
we believe is in episode 6.
Or episode 4.
Right.
If episode 4 is the witch hunters, then that's not gonna be him because I see a picture of him down
Right.
here and he's in a
But we
modern day
don't.
suit.
We don't.
No.
We think the Witchfinders is episode 4, but it may be episode 6.
Yes.
Wherever that particular episode lands, then
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Both episodes 4 and 6 were filmed in the same block, so that's all we know. After that, we're going purely by costume.
I swear the Chris Noth one threw me off because they actually played this reveal thing at in the end of the episode for me. So when Chris Noth turns around, he's basically in a suit. So it's it looks like they basically just took a clip from Law and Order.
Law and Order, Doctor Who.
By the way, is anyone else checking out the pictures for these actors?
I saw the trailer.
Julie looks familiar somehow. I'm not sure how. Like she might have been a character before.
Not out of the question.
Nothing I'm aware of.
Hazamangath? Or however her last name is pronounced.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
I don't know. Her
Yeah,
character
she
design
looks-
just looks very familiar.
She looks like somebody, but I don't think she is somebody.
Oh, she appeared in Broadchurch. So if you watched that,
Hmm.
what a shock! Chris
What a
Chibnall
shock,
cast
yeah.
somebody from Broadchurch.
Yeah.
Someone else from Broadchurch is visiting the set. Calling me surprised.
Well, yeah,
Take a shot.
take, on a side note, Honest Movie Trailers very recently released Honest Movie Trailers for both New Who and Classic Who.
Mm-hmm.
And for the New Who, it's and featuring every British actor, the Game of Thrones edition,
Game of Thrones edition. The Harry Potter edition.
That was the other one. But at this point, if they did that same trailer 3-4 years from now, they'd also be having and every British actor, the Broadchurch edition.
Of course, Broadchurch already had a Doctor. Well, yeah, 2 Doctor Who actors in it when it started, and 4 by now. 5, maybe more. I don't know.
It had Tennant and it had
Darville.
Darville. Thank you. I couldn't remember his last name for some reason. It's been too long.
Right.
I haven't even watched Legends of Tomorrow recently.
Right. In a recent interview with WordScreen, Chris Chibnall addressed the question of how Series 11 is written and if he's using a writing pool. The answer, sort of. They, referring to Russell T Davies and Stephen Moffat, didn't have writer's room. It was much more the British way of working, which was how both of them ran it when I was writing. They gave you a line or an idea and said, go away, work it up, send us an outline. You do an outline and then you'd go to script. It was very different from the American system. We are running it slightly differently from that. It's a hybrid of the British and American system. I get a bit superstitious about talking about it because we have devised our own hybrid process. I almost feel as if the walls of the room are slightly sacrosanct. And if you describe it, it becomes locked and fixed in, and people say, oh, but that's how they work. But it's so fluid and so dependent on the writer and the day and the story. What I aim to do is create a production that is collegiate and collaborative where everybody feels hopefully a part of it. I wanted to bring in a lot of new writers to the show and make sure there is representation on the writing team and open the door to the next generation of writers.
So, probably it sounds like he's doing where the writers meet up regularly.
Right.
And exchange cliff notes. Help review each other's work, that kind of thing. So not a full-on writing pool where you got to show up every day and sit down in the bullpen, but
And it seems the writers are also given additional homework. So I don't remember where I saw this, or I probably should have saved it. It might have been a tweet or an article or something talking about how the writers for The Woman Who Fell to Earth were talking to the foundation that deals with the condition that Ryan has, and that they were communicating and getting input on the disorder and how to write it.
Interesting. I actually know nothing about that disorder. I should probably look it up.
It seems to be almost like a version of dyslexia, but that's also physical.
It's more like
That's right.
It's like an effect against your spatial awareness, essentially.
Or hand-eye coordination.
Yeah,
or
but
something like that.
And eye-hand coordination.
But the list of symptoms I saw shared outside the episode seemed like it also had other things in common with dyslexia, which is probably why the name is so similar. In terms of like some of the cognitive functions.
Weird. Again, I'll have to look it up eventually. So, that does it for our episode news. Moving on to our cast and crew news. Jodie was recently talking to Vulture magazine about New Who, and the subject of former Doctor Who companions came up. Apparently, Jodie is a Rose and River fan.
There's a fanfic. Rose X River.
I'd love to work with Billie Piper. Rose was a brilliant character. I love what she brought to that role. It was engaging and strong and vulnerable and dynamic. I'd like to meet Rose. And River Song. There's a load of brilliant creatures and monsters, too. Could you imagine me meeting my first Dalek? Well, there's no accounting for taste.
Rose had really good moments, but she also had really bad ones. And the less said about River, the better.
I mean, I feel like River was definitely a trapped within the Moffat era thing that will never
ever come back.
Finish stuff.
If we ever do revisit River, it's gonna be heavily altered by that point.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to see Chibnall do for River what Moffat did for Sim.
Oh, Let's completely fix this character and bring it back up to where it should be.
Yeah, because it's very interesting because Moffat did do that. He fixed John Sim from what Russell T had him do, which was complete and total camp, and made him a credible threat again.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he wrote River pretty much as complete and total camp / noir
/ Mary Sue.
Yeah.
I will never be able to call her anything but Mary Sue at this point. Because every single time she showed up, she checked a different Mary Sue box. It was All right.
The first thing I would want Chibnall to do if they ever bring back River's Song, it's not the handbrake, and continue.
I just don't even want them to acknowledge that. I don't even want to acknowledge those episodes. They didn't happen.
I can already feel Randy shuddering.
Anyway. Should a man in their 30s be held accountable for something they said in their teenage years? Video has recently surfaced of a then 16-year-old Chris Chibnall talking on the BBC program Open Air, citing his disappointment with the then recent Colin Baker episodes of Doctor Who. This would have been around 1986. It's not a kids' program at all. It could have been a lot better. It could have been slightly better written, especially the last story. It was very cliched. It was very routine, running up and down corridors and silly monsters. Chibnall was speaking as a representative of the Doctor Who Appreciation Society at the time. Modern Chibnall, however, dismisses these comments made by his younger self. Imagine something you did for 20 minutes when you were 16 has resonance when you are 30 years older. It's kind of extraordinary, he said, laughing. Listen, I'm not saying I was right when I was 16. It was a load of nonsense. When asked what he had in store for us with Series 11, he had to reply with loads of running up and down corridors and loads of monsters.
When your history comes back to haunt you, and look at them glasses. I remember when I had glasses like those. Never again.
I don't think I ever had glasses like those.
Oh,
I
those Coke bottles were huge, man.
You look at those, and all I can think of is oh my God, they're Revenge of the Nerds glasses, you know? Oh, you mean size? Oh yeah, I had them that big. Yeah, I had
yeah,
freaking
size-wise,
like
I'm talking
specs.
about. Yeah, they were massive. Never again.
Yeah.
I remember having to go back to those ones those size before when a pair I had at the time broke, and it's just like I feel my face sliding off my skull. Blech.
Yeah, I'm always afraid I'll go back to the optometrist and he'll have to put those in. It's the only way we can get the refraction down.
No.
Anyway, that is our cast and crew interviews. Nobody apparently from the alumni cared to comment on the new episode. So we move on to merchandising.
Merchandising.
I was going to say, I was glad someone did that because otherwise I would have. Okay, so Barbie has announced a new doll recently with an announcement that caused confusion amongst some British fans. On Sunday, the Barbie official account tweeted about the all-new Doctor Who Barbie doll inspired by the iconic series' 13th Doctor. With the signature suspenders, lace-up boots, and sonic screwdriver, this Barbie doll is ready to time travel into your collection. Considering that the English refer to what Americans call a garter, this American company apparently didn't realize how risque their announcement seemed to British audiences. I'm glad I read that through once before we started because I laughed. I couldn't finish the last sentence without laughing.
Once again, things are lost in translation.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the thing that only just occurred to me now is it would actually be kind of interesting to have Jodie Whittaker in Toy Story 4 as this Barbie, as a cameo. That'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, but it's probably not going to happen.
Oh yeah, I figure it would it'd be a very long shot, but it would be kind of funny.
Does her packaging come in the shape of a blue TARDIS?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think it comes in almost standard Barbie packaging.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been no word yet on if they're going to make a Ken doll based on Graham. So that's our merchandising news. Let's go on to our contest and auctions.
All right. So the DWAS, the Doctor Who Appreciation Society, is making its last push to raise funding for that William Hartnell plaque.
We've talked about this twice before, just to remind you all.
New items have been added to their auction site on sale now.
Yep.
So just an update, not a ton to say.
Just an update. They're almost there. They just need to do one last push.
One more push. We're almost there. More Dalek posters.
Yep. I haven't actually looked to see what they got. I just saw that news. I was trying to put together news in a bit of a hurry today. Because there was a lot of it. So, Candy Jar Books
Of course.
has some books news. With the Havoc Files, the Lethbridge Stewart series Havoc Files coming to a close, Candy Jar Books would like to tie up any loose plot threads they haven't closed up in the series. Loose Ends is a short story compilation that ties all this leftover plot up neatly. Is currently available for pre-order from the Candy Jar Books website. I didn't think it gave any listing on how many actual short stories are in the book, but apparently it's supposed to tie everything up and leave you with a blank slate going forward. Should they be making more Lethbridge Stewart novels?
They will.
No, yeah, as long as they have the
If
license.
it made them enough money, yeah, they'll come back for more.
Yep. From Candy Jar Books to Obverse Books, as they are bringing up another Black Archive entry. This one is on the episode The Time Warrior, the episode that brought us both the Sontarans and Sarah Jane Smith. Obverse looks back at one of the rehearsal scripts for the episode and shows how experiences in World War II and Vietnam helped to create the character of Lynx. This is available now from Obverse Books. And finally, that takes us to our Big Finish news.
Okay, out now. Short Trips, A Small Semblance of Home. Out not long after our last podcast was Short Trip, A Small Semblance from Home, a trip back to the early First Doctor and narrated by Carol Ann Ford. In it, the Doctor is once again putting the crew in danger to satisfy his scientific curiosity, and Barbara is fed up. Short Trips, A Small Semblance from Home is available now from the Big Finish website for £2.99 download. And as well, out now is also out now is Volume 2 of the 8th Doctor story Ravenous. We've talked about this one before, so here one last time is a list of the episodes. Escape from Caldor by Matt Fitton, Better Watch Out by John Dorney, Fairy Tale of Salzburg by John Dorney, Seizure by Guy Adams. Ravenous 2 is available from the Big Finish website for £23 CD and £20 download.
Yep, that's the one that Matt really wants us to apparently get.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of good stuff on this cover alone.
I don't know
Just
if
gimme,
I've looked
gimme,
at the
gimme.
cover for this one. Let me pop it up.
Yeah, look at the cover. It's really awesome. Just for the fact that we have a robot death on the cover. If
Oh,
nothing
not
else.
just that. It's not just that. This is also the one where the 8th Doctor fights the Krampus.
Yeah, I believe this is also the one where they have the Krampus and they have a couple other things going on. But yeah,
Seems like Ravenous might be a more comedic take than the previous 8th Doctor adventures.
This might be the
Considering
lighter
la-
side.
Considering
The
last
light
time
half.
was the Candyman.
Well, it could just be that they're lighting around a bit before getting into the dark.
It could be that they're just doing something a little light before they go deep in. But then again, robots to death. I'm not sure how light we're getting.
Yeah, that's true. They're pretty gruesome. Of course, we'll find out
I
later.
heard
this
a
season,
cry.
won't
That was me.
we? Yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out about that. I think around Christmas time, was it?
Was
Yeah,
it,
just prior to Christmas.
Okay. Just in time then for that one particular story then.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not Ravenous 2. We're actually doing Robot to Death.
Oh, robots death.
Ah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think Bill's
Okay.
actually seen it before.
Oh,
I have
shame.
not.
I bought it a while ago, but I haven't watched it yet.
Shame.
Okay, finally coming out next year is David Tennant in Doctor Adventures Volume 3. In it, the 10th Doctor again teams up with Catherine Tate's Donna Noble for a trio of adventures. Also on the voice list is Jacqueline King as Sylvia Noble, and our favourite Bernard Cribbins as Wilfred Mott. Episodes include No Place by James Goss, 1 Mile Down by Jenny T. Colgan, and The Creeping Death by Roy Gill. The 10th Doctor Adventures Volume 3 is available for pre-order from the Big Finish website for £35 CD, 5-disc limited edition, and £25 download.
So
I
the only one
wasn't
not
going to
tongue-tied yet today is me. I'm waiting for when that happens.
I wasn't going to bring this up, but since we're actually talking about Wilf and it's topical, does Graham have a similar accent to Wilf, or is it just my
A little
ears?
bit. A little bit. I noticed that.
Tiny pinch, I
I
think.
noticed it in a couple of lines, and it's like, oh my god, it's like the second coming of Wilf.
He gets to travel with TARDIS, though. Yay!
It might just be that they're both like working class, slightly older characters.
Possibly.
Or I don't know
Yeah.
where Bernard Cribbins is from. It's possible he might be from that area originally.
I know. Apparently, he's done a good bit of voice work and has alternated accents. Like I found. So I found where the Google blurb said something about him alternating between Cockney and something else, but when I clicked on the actual article, that line had been deleted from the article. So I could not actually find confirmation of his normal accent.
All I know is that Bradley Walsh is using his normal speaking voice because I've seen him on the show that he's hosting that he's continuing to host while he does this. Yeah, he's just using his normal voice.
And as far as I'm aware, Cribbins is using his normal voice when he was on the show too. So...
Yeah, his voice in interviews is pretty much the same as like Wilf might be slightly more played up for comedy.
Here and there, yeah. But otherwise, as far as I'm aware, I've seen other things that he's been a part of too, and he seems
and
to
mind
be
you,
still talking
Cribbins has
normally.
done plenty of voice acting himself because he used to be the voice of Marvel.
Right.
Even before he guest appeared in that Doctor Who movie, he was like doing music stuff, as I recall.
Oh yeah, he had a record that came out at some point. Right, said Fred. Yep. Okay, so that's it for our news. We do have some geek talk.
Geek talk, Yuki.
And apparently Thomas went to go see a couple of movies, and I went to the opera.
I'm guessing nobody made it to Venom.
No, and I've been hearing it's not been turned out that well.
Yeah. I know people who like it and people who are like, it's fine, or it's like it's thought it was shit. But I'm just one of those people who's like, I have literally no interest in seeing it. So
I don't have any particular interest either because, to be honest, that's so just untied from everything that's supposed to be a part of that I'm like, eh.
As far as I can tell, it's better than Catwoman, but
it's better than Catwoman.
That's a pretty fucking low bar.
That's a low bar.
That's like dropping a stone on your foot and saying it passed to the bar. So.
Yeah. I've been the one thing I have heard that's a positive about Venom is that they do all say that Tom Hardy did a really good job. It's just that sadly the rest of the movie around him is just bleh. Either the first act or the third act drives people crazy.
Yeah,
in particular,
I kind of had bad luck with superhero movies at this point.
I've just heard I just basically heard don't waste your money, so I haven't wasted my money.
I mean,
also
sure
a lot of people have
Tom
said
Hardy...
that it's essentially a throwback to 90s superhero movies, which is not the greatest thing.
No.
Nope.
I mainly remember like the quote that came out before the movie came out was like Tom Hardy saying, "My favorite 40 minutes of the movie were cut out."
Ouch. Yeah. That's already going to hurt it.
At this point, Sony should just give it up and just hand it all back to Disney.
They should. It's the best thing they can do for themselves is just continue the contract and allow more of Spider-Man's characters.
No, and all of Spider-Man's characters. Give them Venom back too if they want to.
If Disney, I would trust Disney to know what to do with Venom.
I would trust Marvel Studios to know what to do with Venom.
Well,
not necessarily the rest of this.
Marvel Studios under Disney, yes.
So what you did go to see, the first one you went to was Teen Titans Go to the movies. A movie I personally had decided I wasn't going to waste my money on. Because I hate and despise Teen Titans Go.
I'm on the fence about the show itself because I've seen a bit and some jokes are like, okay, that's a bit much, and some jokes are just funny to me, partially because it's like, wow, they're doing this on a show that I figured was aimed for like kids. Like
it's all been grown ready to me. So
I'm pretty sure there's been a few masturbation jokes on that show.
The littler kids aren't going to get it. The teenage kids are going to have a chuckle, and anyone slightly older than that is going to be like,
Yeah, I went and saw it, and I didn't have any real expectations, but my God, I laughed so much. I was surprised by how funny and entertaining generally I thought this movie was. So I was actually really glad. There are some jokes that are like incredible. Like for a movie that's aimed at, you would think, little kids, there are some dark jokes and dark moments in this. At least as far as like, not like, you see someone get shot to death, or anything like that. But like just general jokes that are like, okay, for a kids movie, that's quite darkly humorous. um, they have like, and the funny thing is, part of the crux of the movie is making fun of the show itself in a way, because the whole joke is that this version of the Teen Titans aren't taken seriously at all.
Well, that's very true in of itself.
Yeah. Um. But yeah, honestly, if it's still in the cinemas where you are, I would say that it is worth seeing at least once. I actually remember weird moments where it was like parts of the movie going about how, like, also part of it is just them joking about how the Teen Titans have never got a movie until now in any form, and at least like a theatrically released one. And some of those moments actually kind of got to me emotionally, because it was like, fuck yeah, this team has really been screwed around for a long time. And then there is the like, another notable thing is that Nicolas Cage voices Superman.
There's an in joke for
So
you.
he finally got to do it. So good on him.
No, there was a couple of scenes in the commercial I thought were humorous, like where they're confronting Deathstroke and they keep calling him Deadpool.
Yeah. This actually, the
DC's
funny
been
thing is,
doing a lot of Deadpool jokes lately.
Because Deadpool is popular.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like I wonder, like if they had to call and get the rights, be like, "Yo, will you guys sue us if we keep making Deadpool jokes? Because it's a fourth wall thing."
Well, that's actually kind of the funny thing, because after I came out of this, I was like, you know what? If you want to do Deadpool for kids, this is how you do Deadpool for kids. This was very.
You don't do.
Some of the humor was very like, okay, if you're gonna do it at all,
okay,
you can't do Deadpool for kids because someone's gonna get murdered.
Actually,
well, yeah, like I wouldn't do Deadpool for kids live action, but I mean like in a cartoon setting.
I have to interrupt you both here and ask if you've heard about the PG-13 re-release of Deadpool 2 coming out.
I have, and that's stupid.
Are you kidding? Did you hear how they're doing it? Apparently, they're doing it in the form of basically Deadpool telling a story to Fred Savage.
Huh?
A la The Princess Bride.
I got that.
Oh crap! I still haven't seen Deadpool 2. I completely forgot.
Yeah, they're calling it the Deadpool Before Christmas.
Oh, I don't know, man.
So it'll probably like anytime anything. Just
anything.
Skipping through that.
Yep. And he killed a bunch of guys. It's something like that.
Yeah.
He shot out a few cuss words. Okay, moving on.
And they, you don't want to hear about that.
Yeah. But yeah, like I was surprisingly taken off guard by how much I enjoyed this movie. I was expecting to at least think, it's okay, but I really enjoyed the hell out of Teen Titans Go to the Movies. And of course, there was the one infamous thing, which I'm not going to say, even though it's like been spread over the internet anyway. There is a credit scene that made my entire body just covered in goosebumps. And like everyone was starting to leave because there was actually quite a lot of people in the cinema that I was watching. And then when it happened, everyone stopped and turned. Because it was just like, oh shit.
Apparently people weren't listening because, yeah, I think I heard about that too. And that's probably the one thing I want to see.
I'm probably going to wait till this comes out on Netflix or, something like that.
Like, even if you don't want to see the movie itself, at least go out of your way to find footage of that credits bit, because
Yeah, the end credits bit. Yeah,
huh,
or mid
yes,
credits.
it was that was great.
Okay. So what about the other movie you went to go see?
The House with a Clock in Its Walls, I swear I only gave a shot out of like curiosity.
I've never even heard of it, so.
And yeah, like it's apparently based on a book from like the 70s or something. And it's the funny thing is the thing that actually made me like kind of morbidly curious was the fact that it's a family movie directed by Eli Roth, which sounds like an oxymoron.
Actually, I've seen the
But-
cover of that book now that I looked it up.
Hmm.
It looks
And-
kind of like it kind of looks like the Addams Family house, but you see like this dimly lit green face of a clock around it.
Yeah, like I'll put it this way: the trailers very thankfully do not give away the entirety of the plot. The trailers just center around the fact that there's this giant clock hidden in this house somewhere, and what is it? And they go on about that. And I'll just put it this way: the further the movie goes along, the more I'm like, oh, this is why they got a horror director to do this family movie. Okay. There's like a twist at one point, like a sort of turn the story takes at one point that I'm like, okay. This isn't going to be entirely typical kiddie fare. Though the interesting thing is, thank God, no modern references, because this movie is set in like 55.
Okay, so period piece too.
Yeah, like I don't know if the book from the 70s at the time was a period piece, or if it was just set in the
I'm not
70s.
sure, but it does look
Um,
it does look like a very old, antiquated house either way.
mm,
Even
yeah,
in the original book cover there that I shared.
yeah, but apparently, from what I read, like of the book synopsis after seeing it, there was some, in some cases, kind of majory changes made. The ending was definitely changed. But yeah, honestly, this is the first Eli Roth movie I've ever sat through, and it was actually pretty good as far as I'm concerned.
What other
as it,
movies
like,
has he done? I know the name. I can't think of the movies.
He did the
though.
Hostel. He did the
Oh.
Hostel movies.
Hostel
those,
movies.
like,
Okay.
AKA torture porn.
Yeah.
And like he's done like a cannibal type movie, and
Mm-hmm.
Cabin Fever was another one he's
Oh,
done.
yeah. Okay.
Stuff
Pancakes.
like that, yeah. And he was in and directed a propaganda bit for Inglourious Bastards by Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
But yeah, like, so it was actually kind of surprising. It was like, wow, the guy responsible for that
Did a movie like this? Interesting.
yeah,
I have
did a movie
raised.
like this, and it's actually good. So I mean, like, the actors are great, the kid's great. Jack Black's pretty good because, oddly enough, he's not necessarily off the wall, like over the top, like compared to Kate Blanchett. He is, and I actually really like their dynamic. I actually kind of want to see them in more stuff, like working off each other now. 'Cause
Jack
I'm
Black
like,
can be
damn,
either
they
really
actually
hit
work.
it or really miss depending on who's directing him, I feel.
Yeah. Because like there's actually some weight to his character, so he's not just funny and goofy all the time. He's
Yeah,
actually got to
he can do
some
that once in a while when he's
serious
got the right
stuff, yeah.
direction.
So yeah, if this is still showing where you are, because I'm pretty sure it's fairly late in its run where I live.
I think out here it's actually
Um,
relatively new, but then again, I think it also kind of came in
it
under the
might be,
radar.
yeah, I don't know, because like at least where I am anyway.
I think I've only heard about it in the last week or
probably-
two, so they might still have a couple
Yeah.
weeks if it's still got a solid run coming out of it.
Yeah. But yeah, like knowing that this is apparently the many books in a series, I would actually be totally down for a sequel to this. However that happens, I don't know
Mhm.
about this.
And,
like I didn't
and
know it was a
pending the
series that
popularity
would
with
fill
kids
after that.
presently, that might be it might be making a small splash hit and we don't even know about it right now.
But yeah, like I would definitely say that if you're at least curious, this is at least worth seeing once. Funnily enough, Teen Titans Go, I actually almost considered seeing it twice just so I could see all the references and shit, because there are a lot of DC references like thrown in here and there. It was another one of those pleasant surprise where I had no expectations going in, and it was like, wow, this is actually really good, and it's an Eli Roth family movie. How's that happen?
You'd be surprised.
Mm.
All right. So, while you were doing that, I was giving myself a little bit of culture. I went to the opera. Well, I technically went to a live stream of the New York Metropolitan Opera at a theater. Close enough, right?
Kind of, sort of.
So what we saw is the Met's version of Aida, which is a very classic opera by Giuseppe Verdi. Was written in the mid-1800s. It takes place in ancient Egypt. This is an all-new production of Aida, and it was gorgeous. The sets
I've
and
seen some good pictures already.
The sets and everything were amazing. The Metropolitan Opera has a series of, I think it was 5 or 7 hydraulic lifts that they use to help with changing stage sets and stuff.
So they can make some massive stuff and move it very quickly.
And this production, not just that, they fully utilized this to do cutaways. Like you saw one scene was in front of this wall. And then as the scene ended, suddenly the wall lowered and there were guys standing on the wall as it lowered into this big courtyard scene. It was amazing.
So they had people pre-planned just in case so something lowered, and we got guys ready for the next scene already. There.
Yes. Yes, but I mean, it's the fact that they're able to do this smoothly on a hydraulic lift. It's like smooth as silk. Apparently, I didn't even see any of those guys wobble, and I was looking. Unfortunately, the as good as the production value is, it can't change the fact that when Verdi wrote this play, they had no idea what ancient Egypt was like, so they based it basically on a Greek tragedy.
Oh. Whoops.
And I'm watching some of this and going, yeah, this wouldn't happen. This wouldn't happen in ancient Egypt.
So some minor background mistakes.
The pharaoh wouldn't just give his kingdom to this guy who led his armies, because no, that's not how the dynastic system works.
That's not how that works. No.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he has kids, and if not his kids, his family.
Yeah. And then there's an end. Then there's this bit at the act where a couple of the main characters are dying, and they stop talking about Egyptian mythos and start talking about how the angel of death is carrying them to heaven. I'm like, seriously? Getting your religion mixed up?
God.
Wow, not even the wrong region, wrong religions too.
Mm-hmm. But for the people doing the roles, their voices and their singing was just wonderful. I'm actually very fond of opera, so I enjoyed myself immensely listening to this.
So despite some mess ups, it's still a really good production then.
Well, it wasn't the production that messed it up.
It's not the production's fault. It's the original story's fault. Yeah.
Yes. And we are going to go see Puccini in a couple of weeks. Apparently the one that he has that takes place in the Old West. So that I'm looking forward to, because I really love Puccini. So yeah, I would go see it if you can go see it. Tickets are pretty expensive. They're like $25 per person. But it's still, if you love opera, it's a good way to go see it.
Reminds me, I need to poke Fred about whether or not I need to come to you guys to see Halloween.
All right, and this leads me up to a rant, and this is going to be a short rant. But it is very topical. It is directed at 2 groups, the BBC and BBC America. To the BBC, I understand that for the sake of time, you removed the opening credits to the episode. I would like to request that you not do that again, because I find it disorienting. To me, the Doctor Who theme pretty much is what tells my brain the episode's starting, get your brain in gear for it. And I spent the first 5 minutes of this episode looking at this guy talking on YouTube going, what the hell is going on? My brain just felt lost. And eventually it got in, but it took a while. Don't do that again. Give me the theme. Part of my eagerness is to hear the new theme, hear how it sounds, see what the new credits look like, and I don't get to do that until this Sunday. God damn you guys. The second part is directed solely at BBC America.
And I'm with you on this one, I'm pretty sure.
If, and especially if, there's no opening credits, and the only chance these people have to hear the theme music is the closing credits, please don't show a fucking commercial over the closing credits.
Not even just a commercial. Stop shoving your post-show garbage all over it.
The post-show garbage, I didn't mind.
No, it immediately kicked in right where the credits should have still been, too.
They showed the credits after the post-show stuff. But instead of doing it
I'm
like
not
they
hanging
should
around for
have,
that.
they bounced it into the lower left-hand corner with no audio and showed a commercial that we'd seen 10 seconds ago over the top of it.
Bad BBC America. No biscuits.
Bad BBC America. That's a horrible way of doing it, especially if you're doing something as classic as the Doctor Who theme.
No crumpets
Something
for
that's
you.
an integral part of the show. Doing that, by the way, cost me your viewership because I'm now getting Series 11 off of Amazon Prime, so fuck you. No, that's a bad thing to do. Especially if you know the fanboys are basically sitting there going, what does the new theme sound like? What does the new theme sound like? And we get to hear 3 notes and commercial. No. And I think they might have done one of those things too where they played the credits on fast forward.
Wouldn't be surprised because they do that too.
Yeah, I hate that. It's just absolutely an abominable way to treat the people who are getting credits
I will
for making the show.
I will say, however, that fans have already managed to find the original theme and have put it out on YouTube, but that still doesn't counteract the fact that BBC America royally messed up.
Fans shouldn't have to do that.
Fans should not have to do that, yes.
Yeah.
Just so they can hear it for the first bloody time.
Like, to Randy's earlier point, when I was doing my rewatch, my mum woke up and walked into the lounge room and she was like, so what are you watching? And I said Doctor Who, and she was like, really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear the theme. Yeah.
Right? Isn't it annoying?
It's just, for me, it was disorienting because I couldn't really tell that the episode had started or if I was watching another commercial for a good minute or two into it.
Yeah, I do recall them definitely saying that, like, pre-warning people for this, and that it would show at the start of the intro would be part of episode 2. So if it's not, you can definitely
I know.
Call them out for that.
It's still, I don't know if they did it to save some time or if they just thought it would be great to just cold open it. But for me, no, the theme basically tells me I'm going to watch. It's an integral part of the show. It's integral to the show as the TARDIS, as the Doctor. Don't take that out. It's a necessary part of the show for some of us. I remember Series 4 when it came out, and the new credits came out, and we were headbanging to it. It's the only version of the Doctor Who theme I've ever heard that I could headbang to. It was amazing. And that was every week we did the same thing, because we were playing it in Anime Club and in the off room there. As I'd bring in the episode and we'd watch it, and I'd sit there and I'd headbang to the opening credits. Good times. But no, the credits are part of the show. Don't take them out. All right, that's all I have to say about that. It was
All right.
just some nuisance.
So with that done.
And you go find someone else to do the summary because I need to step up deck a moment.
I think someone
What to
hasn't
say?
done it in a while, like a few months.
Yes. Silently looking at him, even though he can't tell that we're looking at him over the internet. Are you ready, Thomas?
I guess I'll try my best for this very long, because I'll have to, like, even though I rewatched it, I have that, like, kind of short-term memory, annoying shit, so it'll be awkward.
Well, whenever you're ready.
uh, okay, so the episode starts on Ryan starting this vlog essentially, and then cuts to him, his grandmother, and his granddad essentially, him Graham. They're trying to teach him how to ride a bike because it turns out he has dyspraxia and he can't because it's a coordination disorder thing. And he gets fed up and chucks it off the chucks the bike off the sort of cliff or hill or whatever. And when he goes to get it, these sort of shapes, as he describes them later, show up in thin air, and he just kind of presses the middle one, and that summons this kind of weird-looking candy thing that when he touches is like extremely cold. He calls the police, and we switch to Yasmin, who is fed up with doing parking tickets and stuff, so she gets sent down to investigate what's going on with this thing Ryan's found. And they get a call that that Ryan's grandmother and Graham, on the train they were, something has happened. And we see this kind of tentacly thing coming for them as the doctor falls through the roof of the train, and manages to distract it for a bit. They kind of get their bearings. It kind of just it kind of zaps them all, sort of, and then just buggers off. The one guy that was on the train with Graham and that just kind of buggers off as well. The doctor, by this point, Yasmin and Ryan are there, and they all kind of go out to figure out what's going on, and that the little giant candy thingy from space has gone missing, which turns out to have been taken by someone who has some kind of knowledge of what this is, who is then killed by this alien that comes out of it, just as the doctor and company are arriving. They kind of dick around in there for a bit, find out that this thing has been here before, because they were looking for weird shit going on. Then, oh my god, it's gonna be weird. I'm gonna keep blanking. They find the tentacle thing and find out that it's some sort of tracker in a way. It's like gathering information.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor, between this, the doctor's passed out and come back. Then, oh my god. Yeah, they confront the alien thing, and it reveals that it's got teeth on its face. And it's essentially kind of a predator situation, in a way. And it kind of just gets the info it needs and buggers off. So they go to find the guy that he's trying to kill. They climb up the top of a crane, and the doctor has a confrontation with the thing, which I don't remember the name of offhand.
Tim Shaw.
That's it. And eventually tricks it into essentially almost killing itself, because it turns out that the doctor, with her new sonic screwdriver that she made, had transferred the bombs that were in their necks to the creature, that had then transferred it into this alien, and she just kind of throws the homing beacon thing, and it just gets kicked off the crane, but still manages to teleport itself away. And then the Grandma Grace, that was the name, is trying to take out the tentacle thingy because it's trying to bring down the crane that Yasmin Ryan are on. And as it dies, it lets out a bolt of electricity or something that knocks her off and kills her. And then there's a funeral scene, and some other stuff, and then they have a bit of a come down. The Doctor picks a new outfit, gets them to help her devise this thing that can help her try to track down the TARDIS, only for it to zap them all into the middle of space. And that's what we end on.
Pretty much. Take off a few seconds because I was a little late to turn that off. About 5 minutes, 40 seconds.
Wow, I'm actually kind of surprised that wasn't over, 7 minutes.
I didn't think about how much tonal whiplash that was, but hearing you describe it, they have the funeral and then the Doctor picks an outfit.
Yeah.
May I point out something? It's a little politically incorrect, but I'm going to point it out. So this is the first time canonically that the Doctor's a girl, right?
A woman, yes.
Right.
This is also the first time the Doctor has actually gone out and shopped for clothing.
On screen that we've seen of, yes.
No, I went through the entire lineup of where the Doctor got each outfit that they've worn.
Well, usually he has the Doctor has stuff in the TARDIS, yes, but
Correct.
they don't have the TARDIS available at this point.
But there's other points where the Doctor didn't have the TARDIS and he
I was
stole.
gonna say,
I'm a little surprised Jodie didn't steal it from a hospital.
Yeah,
Yeah, which has happened-
that's the default. The third Doctor stole his original outfit from the hospital. The eighth Doctor
Capaldi
stole his outfit from a hospital. Smith stole his outfit from a hospital.
Capaldi got his from a homeless dude originally, didn't he?
He got
Something like
he
that.
got a outfit from a
A
homeless
outfit
dude, and
from-
then he later supplanted it with his official outfit, which he got from TARDIS wardrobe. Tennant got his outfit from TARDIS
I
wardrobe.
guess as well, with Capaldi, it was a case of getting it. He was still fuzzy. By the time she gets a new outfit, she's already okay, I'm fine now.
Well, so was Capaldi at that point because he didn't actually get his official outfit till the end of the episode.
And I, by the way, see that we have a Tim.
Yes, I heard the Tim.
Yeah, I'm here.
Timing.
Sound a little hoarse, Tim.
Yeah, I'm battling I think I got a con bug.
That would happen, especially at a big con like with the one you went to.
Yeah, he's
Mm-hmm.
got the con crud. Thank God it can't be transmitted over Discord.
Right.
You say that.
Yeah.
I already feel like I need to pull up my shirt over past my nose.
But no, I mean, second Doctor basically wore a variation of the first Doctor's outfit. Third Doctor stole his from a hospital. Fourth Doctor, TARDIS wardrobe. Fifth Doctor, outfit found in a TARDIS corridor. Sixth Doctor, TARDIS wardrobe, and we wish he hadn't. Seventh Doctor, TARDIS wardrobe. Eighth Doctor stole from a hospital and then later supplanted from a TARDIS wardrobe. Ninth Doctor basically wore a variation of what the Eighth Doctor wore, and I think added a little bit to it by the end. Or that's the War Doctor.
It's the same with the War Doctor, to be honest. Yeah, they
Yeah,
both had leather coats. All three of them had leather coats and varying things underneath.
And then Ninth Doctor, TARDIS wardrobe, we're fairly certain. We're not quite certain about that because there is a gap between where we see the War Doctor regenerating into the Ninth Doctor and when we first meet the Ninth Doctor. But pretty sure that it's the wardrobe. 10th Doctor, wardrobe. 11th Doctor, stole from a hospital. 12th Doctor, wardrobe. 13th Doctor, shopping. One of these things are not like the others.
I feel like in a way they can't, like, the fact that they were with companions would have stopped any stealing.
Mm.
Didn't stop
if
it.
the doctor-
Didn't stop Matt Smith from doing it in front of Amy Pond.
True, but at least Amy was not a police officer.
She
like,
was dressed as one, and she was looking.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't think Yasmin probably would have allowed stealing.
Mhm.
At least she went to an
Although-
op shop instead of like
in-
some actual department store.
In the scene's defense, it seemed to be somewhat of an homage to the Seventh Doctor's scene.
I
Like
don't
with
really.
the whole like not very strong one, but like the whole not that, not that, not that.
No, well, mind you, that's a trope. They've done that a few times.
Mm-hmm.
They even alluded to it when the 10th Doctor chose his outfit. They just didn't have it vocal.
Yeah, they had maybe a couple of quick scenes where it's just like, nah.
Yeah, because mind you, they were playing Song for 10 over it. But yeah, he was pulling stuff out and went, no. Ooh,
Ah.
So there was some of that in they've done that a few times now. Even the 8th Doctor had a moment of that where he opened one of those lockers in the hospital he was stealing from and pulled out a multicolored scarf,
And
looked
he
at
went,
it
nah.
and went, no. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of a trope, but still, I just found that to be a bit odd.
Yeah, it's worth remarking on.
It's a bit
All
odd,
right.
but it's hopefully, well, again, she's highly separated from the TARDIS right now. There's not much she can do about that.
Steal from a hospital.
Again, it's only a Tuesday.
So what we liked about the episode, Matt, you're first.
What we liked about the episode. Oh gosh, I just love the cast. Period. I like the cast a lot right now so far.
Yeah.
Our main cast did a really good job, and that also includes some of the side people that we got in there. They have some interesting quirks. The monster is really well cast and does a pretty solid job for what he's doing. We got one side character who later becomes the main focus for a little bit, and he's got some interesting quirks himself. Just a generally really well done cast so far.
All right. Tim, how about you?
Okay, and forgive my voice, but I really liked the insight into regeneration that this episode gave. In that, like the way the Doctor described it, as well as like the beats that were presented, how he said that thing about how when people need help, I never refuse. She came to that point before she remembered she was the Doctor. And I also liked the idea that unlike Peter Capaldi and David Tennant, more like Matt Smith, this Doctor had to come to her identity without any help from any previous companions. Like she had to come to the conclusion that she was the Doctor on her own.
Not even with the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Tim, you have any tea in your house?
Yeah, I have some tea.
Would suggest that, yeah.
Might want to make yourself a cup of that, and if you have any lemon or honey to put in it, I would.
Okay.
Really, really good for the throat.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Bill, how about you?
So I think I'm going to go with, this is probably a little obvious and cliche, but I think it's still worth mentioning. The efforts they go to for representation. I mentioned earlier that the writing staff had mentioned, specifically making an effort to do so well. But it's very, I don't think we've ever had anything close to a disabled companion before. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, unless you count Canine and Chameleon, but that's a different kind of disability entirely.
I think there used to be a talk about them getting one in a wheelchair at one point, but I don't think it ever happened.
Not officially, at least.
That would be very interesting, but I imagine it would restrict some of the stories they could tell.
Yeah,
it'd
be kind of a logistics nightmare.
Well, I think they were talking about it for Big Finish.
Oh, that would make a lot of sense. But yeah, that and even with Carl, where he's not a hero, he's not a character you're meant to look up to, but he's not a laughing stock either. He's not the butt of all the jokes, despite the fact that he clearly has some sort of cognitive issue or developmental issue. But they're still handle it in a respectful way to show that this is a regular person, and he's in this situation and doesn't handle it all that differently from what any other person would.
Also, the fact that the doctor didn't just wave screwdriver and fix it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was almost half expecting that and glad they didn't do it.
Right.
All right. Was that everything, Bill?
Yeah.
All right. Thomas?
Kind of on, like, following on from something Matt said about the, like, supporting cast, essentially.
Mm.
I actually really liked the guy, like, the fact that the guy playing Carl really does seem very incidental to start with, but then you find out, oh, okay, this dude actually had a reason to show up. Because at the same time, you almost could argue that they could have put people on the train with them in that carriage to, like, whatever, but even then, it's like, rather than just being, oh, I'm here, so it's not literally two people sitting on a sitting in a carriage, it's just, okay, we'll never see you again. It's like he actually comes back around, has something to do with the episode overall, and is actually quite entertaining in his
I'm
own right.
important.
Yeah, he was kind of a Chekhov's gun in a way.
Just about.
Yeah.
The guy you think is just an incidental guy turns out to be integral to the plot. It is Chekhov's gun, except as a person. Would that just make him Chekhov?
I don't know. Was he looking for nuclear vessels?
Okay. Was there anything else, Thomas?
That's about it.
Okay. I just have to go with Jodie Whittaker. Her performance, she is basically like, I was talking with Bob on Monday night. She's kind of a pastiche doctor in a way. She has a lot of shades of Tennant and a lot of shades of Matt Smith, but not so much that they're overwhelming, which was the problem with, especially with Matt Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where his distracted, I'm an alien patter just kind of was up to 11 and was distracting from the character. And she has some of that, but it's never up to the point that it's absolutely distracts from the character. But also has that... Go ahead.
Also, she's going through regeneration, so any kind of blatantly kind of over the top seeming stuff is like, well, I mean,
It might be on temporary.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how much of that is retained with the writers as they get used to Jodie Whittaker as well.
I at first, the first time I watched this, because I watched it twice, I at first thought that it was mainly written. I've had a busy week. I'm a student, but I at first thought it was written basically Capaldi-ish. As I rewatched it, I realized what came across as Capaldi-ish to me is that Capaldi never lost that post-regeneration rudeness that every doctor before then has had. Like, 9th Doctor is a dick for the first half of the season. 10th Doctor is rude and not ginger. 11th Doctor, plenty of examples. And 12th Doctor just kept it the entire run. So I think that's
Angry eyebrows.
I think, Angry Scotsman. So I think that's kind of what made me think of Capaldi in here with her attitude at times. But I think that'll mellow out as she gets over regeneration sickness or whatever.
But now there are certain lines that she said that I could hear Matt Smith say, like,
that's
short-range teleport, double cheat, sounded almost like right out of the Matt playbook.
And I realized this, and some of them definitely felt like they could have been written for Tennant. She just delivered them in a different way, similar kind of thing.
No. The reason I compare her to Tennant is she has that same amount of raw energy.
Yeah. She does.
Raw energy, but it's actually focused in a good way.
Yes, well, so is Tennant's.
Well, we're
She's a
also
little
comparing him to Matt Smith, and Matt Smith just went bonkers.
She's
Yes,
a
but
little
Matt
less
Smith
over the
didn't-
top than Tennant would have been in some of the lines, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like she's a diluted. It's like somebody took Smith and Tennant, mixed it up, and then diluted it, and then added a few other things. She's a mixed drink, but it's a good mixed drink. It's coming off really well. I just wonder how much of that's going to be retained as we see it further down the line.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
one question we'll have to see.
What we disliked about the episode, Matt.
Disliked about the episode. I'm trying to actually think of anything I really genuinely disliked about it right now.
you
It's
don't
not,
have
not
anything,
coming to me
pass.
at the moment, so pass for the moment unless I come up with something.
All right, Tim.
I'm gonna pass to. I
Bill?
love this episode.
Okay.
Wow.
So I'm going to go with the flying spaghetti monster. It's basically it's an all-purpose plot device without the depth to be worth it. You need to introduce the aliens, you put it there. You need a distraction, you put it there. You need to kill Obi-Wan Kenobi, you put it there. And you need a quick way to kill the monster off screen. With the actual work part of it off screen. You put it there, and it felt a little lazy to me, and it didn't quite.
I
feel
thought
right.
story-wise it worked rather well, and the appearance-wise, I looked at Aaron the first time. I was like, oh, that looked like a biomechanical construct of some kind.
The appearance is fine. Like that part was more of me joking than me complaining about how it looks. I just felt like it lacked the depth for the amount of use it got.
It was a
And
tool.
It was used for so many all-purpose. It was a tool, but it was a tool for the writers more than anybody else.
I didn't see it that way. I
Like all-
disagree with you there.
Yeah, I had
Okay.
to disagree with you on that.
All right,
But that's
Thomas,
your opinion.
do you have anything you disagreed or disliked about the episode?
In a way, it's kind of nitpicky because, like, I like some aspects of how they handled it, but others, like, the general idea of doing it annoyed me, and that's killing off Grace.
Yeah, they kind of
'Cause
had
that was
to.
like, it was just so like, oh well, one of these things wasn't mentioned previously, so I wonder who's gonna.
Yeah.
I saw
That was breaking
coming.
it for
I
me a
saw
little
that-
bit too. I'm like, oh, something's going to happen
Mhm.
to her. You're going to do something to her,
Yeah,
aren't you?
like like the longer it went, the more I'm like, she's dead. She's gonna be dead.
Yeah,
And
I had actually turned to Aaron at some point and said, "This woman is about to die."
Yeah, it was kind of like
Mm.
Suicide Squad. They hyped
Yeah.
up all the cast, and then there's this one guy who got no promotion, and you're like, yep, he's
Uh-oh.
gonna
Oh,
die.
that's the red shirt. That's the red
Yeah.
shirt.
like how they handled it, like actually having a funeral and whatever, that was fine. But like the actual idea of, oh well, fuck it. Like, well, all the time before they've always had family. Fuck that.
It-
We're just gonna kill this one person.
It kind of annoyed me at first because I was seeing it as a woman in refrigerator situation, but then I realized that it is a little that, but I think it's more the Campbellian mentor, the Obi-Wan Kenobi, as I mentioned a little while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
in
more
that light,
that.
I can kind of understand why they made that decision, even if I wouldn't have made the same one.
Mm-hmm.
There's another reasoning behind it too. If you look at Grace's personality through the episode, you realize that this is a person that in the Moffat era and in the RTD era, the Doctor would have immediately chosen as his companion.
Quite possibly.
Because she's the one that's asking all the right questions. She's the one that's willing to go that extra mile to save somebody.
Right.
She's the one that's showing all the special talent that we would have gotten from Rose or from any of that would have sparked the Doctor's interest.
That's part of what I mean when I say the Obi-Wan Kenobi thing, and like she's the mentor, she's the person that the other companions might aspire to be and hold up as, as a role model.
Outside of the Doctor herself now.
Although it would have been amazing to see Grace meet Rosa Parks.
So
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like in a way it's just kind of annoying that we could have actually had like the female equivalent of Wilf. You could argue.
Kind of was,
This
but
woman.
Almost, yeah.
And they just go, nope. Just kill her off.
But
There
the
goes
thing
the
is,
rug.
I kind of realized that was going to happen about halfway through the episode.
Yeah.
And it just
Mhm.
kept going.
I kind of realized that
Mhm.
when all of the characters knew each other, but she was the only one that hadn't been hyped up as a companion.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like when I realized
Um,
that they all knew each other, I'm like, yep, something's
Yep.
gonna happen to
If
him.
I think
if
that
I
when
may,
they-
I think I have a general thing too, by the way, which finally I was remembering as we're discussing this.
Okay.
There's a few moments here and there throughout the episode where we seem to have missed a in between, and we go to breakneck speeds from totally different moods.
Hmm.
For instance, where we go from hunting this dark, bleak, creepy alien monster and immediately breakneck into almost shtick as the Doctor is making a new Sonic. And another one was where we had the funeral, and then, as we mentioned before, breakneck speed into I gotta find an outfit.
I was okay with that.
It did throw me off once or twice, but it wasn't horrible. But it is a thing to note.
All right. So, what I disliked about the episode, and you might consider this a nitpick, you might not. I consider it a writing hole. Okay. So we know the Doctor can regenerate body parts within the first X amount of time of regeneration, correct?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We also know that if the Doctor is killed during regeneration, the Doctor's dead. That was established in Series 6. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
I believe so. Yes.
When we left the Doctor at the end of Twice Upon a Time, she was falling from near-Earth orbit. You could tell this because you could see the outline of the whole freaking country below her.
True.
Yeah.
And we are to assume that she crashed into a train from near-Earth orbit and was
Strong
capable
enough to tear a hole through the top.
to the top and can get up 5 seconds later and do stuff.
Yeah. That was weird. Like,
They should have been cleaning up the Doctor from the train with a squeegee.
Didn't the 11th Doctor do something similar at one point?
Not
The
that I'm aware
10th
of.
Doctor did in The End of Time, but that wasn't from that far of a distance.
It wasn't
Yeah.
from near Earth orbit. That was maybe
Right.
from
It
like
was
maybe
50
from
feet.
like wasn't it like a
Um,
helicopter.
mm,
I think it.
was
I
from-
think it
from
might
a
have been.
spaceship that dived down, so it was a near miss by the spaceship.
I think it was the one
Yeah.
with the tree people, and the like World War II family, for like
Yeah,
a
but
Christmas
he-
special or something, where he
Yes,
was.
but he had a specialized suit on to absorb the impact.
Ray's eyebrow
Yeah.
looked like a normal spacesuit to me.
It was, but it was mentioned in the dialogue that it was
Would
like an inertia absorbing suit or something.
Would it
like
have
Uh.
helped if there was like some regeneration energy like glowing around her after she fell, kind of showing
I-
like her?
Actually,
was
what would
healing
have
from
helped
the
is
fall?
if she was like if the regeneration energy was already active and she came in like a giant fireball.
It still wouldn't have done it.
It still would have
She-
been really
she's-
weird and not quite right, but it
she
would have been
still
better.
should have died.
Mhm.
Yeah, an actual funny thing that they could have done that occurred to me is, and because this is what it looked to me like, it looked to me with that she was falling into water last time, so it almost seems like you could have just dropped her from that. And
No,
even though like falling from that
Water
height
would've
still
killed
would have
her.
done that.
at terminal velocity, hitting water is the same as hitting concrete.
Yeah.
I guess at the same time, I didn't think she was falling from that far. I thought she,
If
like,
you
to
can
me, it almost
see-
looked like she was hanging
could-
over London or something.
If you can see the whole country, because I could see coast on each side,
Mhm.
then you're in fucking near Earth orbit.
Yeah, you're gonna be a fireball no matter what as you come down, if you can even last that long.
You are at the same height that like 747s fly at cruising speed. Yeah, that's
It would have been nice if there was at least an offhand line about, "Oh wow, the TARDIS's shielding must have protected me as I fell," even though it would have
No,
been
that's
bullshit.
still ridiculous.
that
That's
it
still
would've
was
been
that would have been a pretty lame one. They needed to think that one out a little better. It was just
I mean,
it was just
At the same time,
hand
I
wavy
think-
writing.
I think we knew in Christmas that she was going to survive a fall that she had no business surviving.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
She might have gotten rescued at the last second.
Yeah, we were waiting for what the excuse was that was going to save her.
Teleport.
I was
And the excuse is there's no excuse, and it's lame.
I was expecting her to see this stuff, and then you just see a plane go underneath, and she kind of grabs onto the wing. Not likely, but plausible enough that I would have let it slide.
I don't know if that would have been any more survivable than what actually happened.
It depends on how far she fell. But
Depends
still,
on how far she fell. She could have gone from plane to plane, too, depending on their heights.
but there's a possibility of surviving that. There ain't no way you're surviving that. And if she's still in her regeneration, she would be dead. Because she would have been killed during her regeneration cycle, because that's insta-death. There's not enough left to regenerate back. So again, I'm pretty sure that Chibnall's hand waving it's like, oh well, she just regrew, she just regenerated all the damage. Not how it works, Chris. Check your lore book. All right, so favorite scene. Matt,
Oh gosh,
you're
it
next.
goes all the way back to me again. Oh. I've got a few. I'm trying to pick out which one. I'm going to
Pick
go
mine.
with. I think the quick doctor speech that she gave just as she was facing the villain one last time for the episode, where she finally the point where she's finally like, I remember who I am now.
I also enjoyed the fact that the villain did not immediately go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As
Well, this villain seems to be another
Right.
dimension, not so much just the same dimension, too.
Not,
So that
I
probably
didn't
doesn't
really
help.
get multi-dimensional. I got extra spatial
And
with a mega teleporter, but yeah.
And it didn't go anything like, but the doctor's a man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I think that was a big fear of a lot of fans, that they would just like put lines like that into every episode.
And if they start doing that a lot, it's gonna be really cringy.
It would be at the same time. I am hoping that when we get into some of the more period pieces, there's a lot of points where she's discounted for being a woman, because that would happen in the period piece.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Although there are certain circumstances where they would forgive that sort of thing, though, too, but they have to be very specific circumstances.
I'm just saying it should give her an initial disadvantage for the. Believe me for what I'm saying. I'm the doctor. Yeah, but you can't be a doctor. You're a woman. Yeah, you know.
It's a good setup for one of those beginning misunderstandings where, like, in the past the doctor would have gotten thrown into prison for showing up in the wrong time, wrong place. In this case, wrong circumstance as a woman in the wrong place, getting immediately ignored. Kind of same sort of setup.
Immediately, it's just like, no, what you say has no value, because it's the frickin' like 1300s.
You have to stay outside. Only men allowed in this conference.
I do want to see that kind of thing because it's historically accurate, and seeing the doctor, having to vent frustrated at it would be interesting to me.
Yeah,
it would be a new
step.
I don't want every episode to be that, but I'd like to see it happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the epic speech at the end. Tim, how about your favorite scene?
My favorite scene.
Please don't die.
Was when the doctor says to Yaz, "I'm calling you Yaz because you're my friend." Because that reminded me of the moment when Charlotte said to the Sixth Doctor, "My friends call me Charlie." And the doctor says, "I'll keep that in mind if we ever become friends."
Oh yeah, character growth over the century.
All right, Bill, how about you?
I'm going to go with the scene at the very end. Actually, it's not the very end, but it's close to it, where Ryan is basically, no, this episode's not named after the Bloody Doctor. It's named after Grace. And here I'm going to tell you why. With basically the second YouTube scene.
Okay. All right. I know what you're talking about now. Okay, Thomas?
Ugh. I had at least two choices, so let's see. I'll just go with whatever my first choice was. Just because it's kind of a funny moment. Like it's not like the best moment in the episode, but anything. But the first time I watched this, I laughed my ass off at it. Like when the Doctor is confronting the alien at the end on the crane, and the alien is like, um, the target is not valuable, or like the target means nothing or whatever, and Carl just looks up and goes, "Hey, I'm important." Like should be scared shitless, but he still has enough in him to be,
Although,
to like sass the alien.
what I found interesting about that was it was kind of a callback to Donna's arc and the fact, the way she finally was by the end of her season.
I'm more than just a temp. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or the human race is just as important as Time Lords, etc.
All right. So, oh God, my favorite scene. I have so many. Honest to God, even though I mentioned what I disliked was her crashing into the train, I think every moment after she stood up from that fall, I loved to death. You're just meeting this character for the first time, and she almost immediately just stands out, takes charge, and shines. And I'm just like, oh God.
I was curious how they were going to do that because, especially with this being a jumping on point, new producer, new Doctor, I wasn't sure if they were going to do the whole assume the audience has never heard of Doctor Who. But they kind of fairly kept, some decent continuity. Like she's looking for the TARDIS, she's looking for the Sonic. It's very clearly continuing off of what's going on, but it's still also not in a pretentious way that requires you to know everything either.
Okay, so we're moving on to least favorite scenes.
Oh, least favorite. I think the entire time was Grace. Was her name?
Yes.
Yeah, the entire time she's hanging off that crane, I'm just like, I'm calling it.
Yeah.
I think we all were.
I think a lot of us were, but yeah, it's a bit of a nitpick, but it's just like,
Okay.
So it just took me out of the moment.
Tim, how about you, if you can talk?
Drunk Salad Man.
Drunk Salad Man.
He's apparently become a fan favorite now.
Yeah, apparently. I've seen a few references to him. He's becoming a meme. But yeah, I was like, that wasn't the stupidest thing I saw, but I'm like, oh God, you are so dead. Bill,
yeah. Okay, I remember now. Yeah.
So, Bill, how's you? What was your least favorite scene?
So, yeah, I need to gather my thoughts. I had a scene. Let me grab it.
Bad scene.
Damn it, I hate it when I have a scene and it flies out of my head. Give me a second.
Take notes.
It's right on the tip of my. What do you call this?
Oh.
Oh, there we go. Shortly before that, Graham is bitching that his step-grandson for 3 years, who is a grown-ass man, is not calling him granddad, as if he, probably hasn't grown up thinking of some other man as his grandfather for years, again, as a grown-ass man. Like, dude, grow up. Like,
yeah.
It'll happen or it won't.
I don't call my stepfather I don't call him dad.
Mm-hmm.
I call him Mark because, yeah, it's like, you didn't really raise me. Why would I call you,
Right. It might be a different thing if Ryan was 10, but he's what, 20 something?
19 or 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I assume 20 something because he's been through a little bit of college apparently.
And half of his memories seem to be of Graham being prejudiced toward him, so that's not going to make him exactly enthusiastic either.
Yeah. Also, I don't know, 20 something. Because Yasmin Khan's in her second year on the force.
Right. I mean, long enough that he and Yaz didn't recognize each other immediately. So that means that they've changed a bit since they were in school together.
Mm.
Okay, where were we? Thomas, were we on least favorite?
I think
scene?
so.
Least favorite. God. God, and I feel like I had one, but now I'm just like,
Boop.
really trying to.
You can pass if you want.
Yeah, I'll pass, and if I don't come up with anything while you're going, I'll just
All right.
completely pass.
All right, so my least favorite scene is this fucking idiot who gets basically the giant Hershey's Kiss, puts it in his garage, and then just sits there and stares at it until it breaks free and kills him. This is a guy that knows these things kidnapped his sister. Wouldn't you think you would have gone for weaponry of some
Caged
kind?
it up, something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead,
That's
he
true. All he
stands
did
there.
was wait there and and ask questions, right?
Mm.
You would have thought if it kidnapped your sister, you would have assumed it was hostile.
Yeah.
But he just stands there like a fucking idiot. He's like, "What did you do with my sister?"
Mm.
You'll never know.
Yeah,
I mean, in a way, it's kind of human to just be like, he's in the heat of the moment. He's not really thinking properly.
At the same
The
time,
thing is, he's had a
would have
long
thought
moment and thought about it.
if you take a look at the only picture they have of him and his sister, his sister was like 10 or 12 when this happened. So he's had like a decade to plan this out.
Thereabouts.
So you think he would have been prepared? He would have been eager because it happened, but he would have had a cage and he would have had, weapons.
Actually, no. There was one picture of them with young adults too. I think it was like in the window or something.
I thought it was. They looked to be about 10.
I think there were a few different ones, but
There's a few of them scattered around, but I know there's one of them with them being almost adults, or close to, or being at least young adults. So it might have been. It still might have been a number of years though, because it looks like he's had a hard time for a while.
Either way, he would have had time to plan this
Mm-hmm.
and implement this and prepare for this. He could have built a cage. He could have got weapons from the black market. He could have done all this shit. And he just sits there and dies.
Sits there with a crowbar, because that's gonna be effective.
I think there have been superhero origin stories for less. So yeah, he definitely could have done something more.
Now, mind you, I would have been fine with it if he'd had a gun and he tried to shoot it at the guy and it just bounced off and he died.
Right.
Because at least then he's trying to do something. He's trying to be proactive. But instead, no, he just sits there and just died.
So if he filled the role that a unit soldier would have filled.
No, a unit soldier would have at least shot.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said. If. Yeah, they would have shot 5 rounds rapid and then
died. Yeah, they would have properly red-shirted instead of suicide by monster.
Suicide by derp, more like.
Yeah. Because I would have said, okay, he's taken my sister. He's not a nice guy. If I'm going to confront him, I'm going to have a bad day.
If nothing else, at least have explosives in case even the guns don't work.
Yeah.
So, but okay, let you finish.
But he didn't do any of that. He just sat there like a dumbass, and then stood up and died. And it's just like, okay, that was a waste of a character, a waste of rational thought.
Yeah.
What rational thought?
The more I'm talking about it, the more it's annoying me, actually. All right, so that's what I had. Is there anything else?
I guess as last minute additions, another scene I really liked was the monster's face reveal.
I didn't, but only because I actually looked at it and went, "Oh, that's not right."
It reminded me a little of, I think it's the Creeper.
I'm like, I
The
looked at that. I'm like,
Creeper.
that can't be hygienic.
I'm sure it's not normally hygienic, at least not for humans, but
Hmm.
Do you know how many viruses are in teeth?
A lot.
Oh,
A lot.
I guess it's just something worth mentioning. The funny thing is about the design of that outfit was like, I'm not sure if I think this is supposed to be feeling like uh like a T800, like this is cross between like a T800, something from like some Japanese show, because like the kind of bug-eyed things on the
yeah,
mask bit kind of
I,
looked a bit like something like that.
yeah. I'd said to Aaron, it's like, oh wow, they're getting invaded by the Guyver.
oh, it must
Did
be
look
a
a
sequel
bit.
to The Guy for Dark Hero then.
Yeah, it looked like the freaking Guyver. I'm like, holy shit. So what does that mean that the tentacle thing's a zoonoid? What the fuck?
The fact that you remember that they're called zoonoids.
I liked the Guyver when I was a kid. I watched the movie and I read the anime and I read the manga. So yes,
Okay.
I remember that shit. I remember watching the movie for the first time. It's like, why the fuck is Mark Hamill in this?
Shrug.
All right. So final thoughts, Matt.
Final thoughts. I think this was a pretty solid first outing. I'm still not sure what I'm going to think of it in the long run because we still got the rest of a series to watch here. But as far as first steps goes, this has been a pretty interesting first outing. The new Doctor seems to fit her world very quickly, and we'll see if she manages to keep a foothold on that.
All right.
Monster was interesting, but didn't overstay its welcome either. And it's going to be interesting to see where things continue because as much as I don't like cliffhangers because I hate being left hanging for a week, I like the idea that they're going to actually continue directly off of where they leave off every episode.
Man, Classic Who would have killed you.
I know. That's why I prefer that we can watch it all in one sitting because that would be the slow death of me.
All right. Tim?
Loved it. More to say when voice back.
Okay. Bill?
Okay.
All right. I think it was a fairly standard Doctor entry story. It didn't really blow me away, but it did. It hit all the right notes. The acting was amazing. Jodie Whittaker was perfect. The story was kind of beat by beat what you'd expect. Hints of the Christmas invasion, probably hints of the 11th hour if I think hard enough. Kind of what you'd expect. I did notice, the new production values, which we had seen in the trailers, but it was good seeing them in a live action episode as well. And definitely hints of new things to come. Definitely giving, at least at this stage with the cliffhanger, some vibes of, I think it was season 12, with the hopping around without the TARDIS for a little while, and then the following after that with the season of no returning monsters. So kind of combining those two themes. But yeah, it seems we're going in a good direction, and hopefully it keeps up that momentum.
All right. Thomas?
I definitely enjoyed this one. There are some, kind of hit or miss moments, but I mean, nothing's perfect. And I really do feel like whatever pitfalls the story had, or the episode had, or continuity, this, that, whatever, the acting more than made up for. By pretty much everyone. I mean, like, the only actor that I was like, okay, what the hell, is probably, like, the drunk dude with the salad.
Salad man.
But pretty much, yeah, but pretty much everyone else I thought was solid in what they're doing. I am looking forward to seeing more of Jodie Whittaker and the companions.
To be honest,
which is more
salad
than
dude
I
is the horror trope of someone asking for it.
Theory: Salad Guy was just a drunk guy who wandered onto the set and was actually not scripted. That's my headcanon.
I don't know. He died pretty well for it.
True.
They got double in for the death.
Anybody else want to see a picture of the drunk guy throwing a salad on a copy of Journey to the Center of the TARDIS?
Worst episode ever. Like lettuce.
Anything else, Thomas?
Not that I can think of, no. But yeah, generally it was. I enjoy this, and I am looking forward to where this goes, where we go from here.
All right. So, in my opinion, yes, this is a good episode. It is very well acted, very well directed. Special effects are high budget. The music is good. All of the visual effects are nice. The only place where it drops down is the writing, and that only drops down to about good. It has a couple of plot holes, but nothing that's absolutely going to ruin it for you. A couple of stupid moments. So if I had to base it solely on the writing, I'd give it a 4. But then again, there's a lot of 5-worthy stuff in here, so it's going to be a pretty high rating for me. Speaking of rating.
Speaking of ratings.
Matt.
Also, a really quick mention. I noticed that there's some cutaways from when the really violent stuff happened. If this was a slasher movie, I'd groan, but for Doctor Who, I'm way okay with that.
Still a family show.
Still a family show, which is why I allow it.
Yep.
And so, even then, we had some off-screen noises that I'm like, ooh. So with that being said, overall rating, oh gosh, it got really close, but I think it's still a 4.5 for me right now.
4.5 from Matt. All right, Tim.
5.
Figured.
That's our Tim.
Bill.
I'm gonna say a 4.
4 flat.
Yeah.
Mm.
Jesus. Thomas.
God, I'm actually kind of going between either a 4.5. I'm just wondering if, you know what? Actually, no. I'll say the acting ups it enough for me to justify giving it a.
Hmm.
So
right, so
4.5
that's-
for you?
No, it's 5
Yeah,
for him.
4.5.
Oh, 5. Oh,
No,
wow. Okay.
No, 4.5.
4.5.
Oh, okay.
If
I thought I
if
said
not
4.
for the fridging, I would have probably gone to a 4.5. But
For the
it
fridging.
contributes.
He
Yeah.
keeps referring to it as that, yeah.
So I give it a 4.5 because, like I said, 4.0 on the writing scale, but 5s everywhere else puts it close. But writing is really important to me, so it's a 4.5, which averages us out to a 4.5, making me right, and Matt right, and Thomas right, and Bill and Tim wrong.
Mean, median, and mode all line up.
Okay. So at a 4.5, this is going to be, first of all, wrong on our sheet.
Da-da-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
This is the really hard one. This is the one that I have to, okay, somebody's getting recorded wrong. I have to manually re-enter all the numbers because I have to enter a new sheet.
Oh. Oh, for one of the sheets, okay.
Yeah. Somebody's not entering right, because, Bill...
Where did the scripts go wrong?
Oh, I see what's wrong. Thomas is wrong. I can fix Thomas.
We can fix you. We can make you better.
We have the technology.
Uh,
Well, Google has the technology.
Google has the technology.
yeah, it was just on the wrong thing. I can fix it. There we go.
The future is owned by Google.
4.0, 4.0. Why is Tim giving a... Okay. Oh! That is not right. That's not right.
Ooh.
Okay. I can fix this. It's the first one of a new season, folks. It happens. Okay, I got it.
Smacking up the Velping hammer. Here we go.
I got it. 4.5. And sorting. This is going to sort high. And 4.5 will come out to. Where are you? You should be around here. Where are you? Worm and
Oh, wait,
Felder
yeah,
comes
there
in
it
at
is.
number 35
Mm.
out of 264. It is on par with the War Machines, Spare Parts, The Invasion, The Rebos Operation, Thin Ice, World Enough in Time / The Doctor Falls, A Thousand Worlds, The Heart of Battle, Enlightenment, New Earth, The Zygon Invasion, The Zygon Inversion, Utopia, Here Comes the Drums, and Last of the Time Lords. It is better than The Metaphysical Engine or What Quill Did, i.e. The Best of Class, The 11th Hour, Rise of the Cybermen, Age of Steel, Time Reaver, Partners in Crime, The Time Warrior, Jago and Lightfoot, The Spirit Trap, Face the Raven, yada, 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 and is not as good as The Seeds of Death, The Talons of Wang Chiang, The Invasion of Time, The Magician's Apprentice, The Witch's Familiar, The Return of Dr. Mysterio, and The Bells of St. John. So that's where it falls, 35 of 264. That's all we have to say about The Woman Who Fell to Earth.
All right. If you enjoy listening to us, especially now that we're on, covering new releases, make sure you follow us on Twitch and subscribe to us on YouTube. And you don't forget to follow us on Facebook.com/Unearthly Podcast and Twitter.com/Unearthlypod for news and updates. And if you want to support us, you can go to Patreon.com/Unearthly Podcast.
All right, next week we continue our journey with the new 13th Doctor and friends. They're trapped in space, dying of oxygen deprivation. How will they survive in The Ghost Machine, written by Chris Chibnall et al., and with Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, Toshin Cole as Ryan Sinclair, Mandeep Gill as Yasmin Khan, and Bradley Walsh as Graham O'Brien. See you next week.
I swear to God, if they fall from the sky again.
Wasn't The Ghost Machine I thought the name was something different. Because
No?
The Ghost Machine is a Torchwood episode.
Is it the Ghost? Is it the Ghost Monument?
Ghost
My
Monument.
bad.
There we go.
Wow.
Sorry, I wrote that next episode thing back when we still had early stuff. So, Ghost Monument.
Shame.
I'm only doing it now, so when I copy it to the top, it's still there.
Hey, see you for The Ghost Monument.
Yes.
Good night.